order. Welcome to the November 20th edition of Charlotte Rotary. And to start us off, Ed Wadsworth with an invocation.
Bow your heads, please. Dear God, creator and sustainer of all that is or will ever be, accept our thanks for this day and its blessings. We ask for you to guide us and direct our club, its leaders, and our actions. Please grant us that each of us may feel our responsibility to Rotary, to our community, to our country, and indeed to all countries and peoples. Please bless our fellowship today. Bless this food and nourishment our bodies. In your service we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ed. And the mellifluous Don Carmichael coming up to introduce our visitors and guests. And we've got some special visitors from the Myers Park High School Interact Club. I'll introduce those from up here at the podium after Don has completed his introduction. I'm going second.
It's always a pleasure to welcome everybody to our club for this nice function that participates with the program. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing until everybody's been introduced, including Mike, along with the patient. Caroline Cox, the club guest, speaking. Carrie Christian. Let's see, Patty Christian.
He's back there.
Stanley, okay. Oh, there you are, behind her. Stanley Anderson, gets the Will Barnhart. And let's see, George Metz, I guess of Will. And Nat DeVries, excuse me, gets of Vince Bragg. Okay. And Huey Sylvester gets of Mike Hawley.
Julie Suster, welcome aboard.
And let's see, Camille Boulevard, Interact.
Yeah, I'm going to cover all those.
Cover all those.
Yep.
Okay, Mike Hawley got this kid out of Mark Moody, Bill Bradley's guest, George Jeff Ferguson, I guess, Mike. And Hal Lee Rajeski, I guess, was on the Commons. Lee Bullen, I guess, the Vine Bullen. And then Jacob Pye is the guest of Courtney Raymond. Caroline Cox, we got her. Anyway, we're glad to have all that. Please come back again.
Hold on, we got one more out there, Linda Lockman Brooks. Is Linda there? Yes. And Linda's a guest of mine as well. So let's give them all a big round of applause and thank you. And thank you. And you can sit down momentarily while I introduce our visitors from Myers Park Interact Club. Those being, if you would stand up, Tyler Brady, Oscar Joyner, and Camille Bolware, and stay standing. These are leaders in the Interact Club over at Myers Park. The Interact advisor at the club is Ann Cullip, and Ann is with us today. Ann, please stand up too, and stay standing. And I tell you what, while you're standing, you just do kind of a 360 so people can see your Interact t-shirt. That's the Be the Inspiration t-shirt. We've got more of them if you need. Actually, Cynthia Marshall. So Cynthia is our liaison to the club at Myers Park. And Cynthia, you stand up too. And thank you. Tyler Brady. Tyler, raise your hand. There we go. So Tyler is planning to attend NC State and become an engineer. It's a good thing to be here to listen to Leandre today. Oscar Joyner. Oscar, raise that hand. There you go. He's an Eagle Scout, participates in lots of Interact functions, including the Interact Rotary Exchange with Merida, Mexico. And, Oscar, with a little more facial hair, you'd be instantly recognizable as the son of our very own Matt Joyner. Camille. There we go. Camille is working with Second Harvest Food Bank, Samaritan's Feet, she's excited about the opportunities after high school and the things that she's been involved in with Rotary Interact. So let's give them a round of applause and stay standing, and if everybody else will stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The composite committee brings us something interesting every week. And we do have some slots that are designated, Rudy Rudisol and David Zimmerman, to have some nonprofit profiles, to hear about some organizations that you might not otherwise hear about. And so to introduce our visiting nonprofit profile, Cheryl Banks.
I am extremely delighted to introduce Carrie Christian. She's the president of Families Forward Charlotte. And Carrie's going to come up and give us just a few highlights about her nonprofit organization. We're so glad to have her with us. Please come up and give her a nice welcome.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you for the warm welcome. We are thrilled to be here today to share a little bit about our organization, Families Forward Charlotte. Families Forward was founded just about 2 years ago in response to the Harvard and UC Berkeley study, deeming Charlotte 50 of 50, the worst in upward mobility. Basically what that means, if you don't know, is that if you are born poor here in Charlotte, you stay poor, and that is not okay with us. We know that there are amazing organizations in the community, but we found that there are still gaps that exist. And people still don't know where to go for the help that they need. There are also too many families and children going without the essentials that they need to succeed. We know and wanted to bridge the social, racial, and economic segregation here in Charlotte that contributes to that poverty. And we do so by connecting people of all walks of life through our Family Assistance Program. These 25 families in our program are connected to us and referred to us by the social workers and guidance counselors at Title I CMS schools. We currently have 2 partnerships, Hornets Nest Elementary and Oakhurst STEAM Academy. We work with families experiencing poverty with a 3-pronged approach. The first being that we connect them with a family liaison, and this is a volunteer mentor that works with the family on goal setting, budgeting, connecting them with area resources, and most importantly, being someone in their corner and support system, letting them know that you can do it. Second, we offer educational workshops, and those cover a range of things from financial literacy to parenting and technology. We do these so that they are accessible to the families in our program and provide transportation, childcare, and meals so that the families, the parents can just relax and learn. And last, we offer limited financial assistance to the families in our program through essentials baskets full of toiletries and home goods that are delivered 3 times a year. And we offer a small amount of money that the families can use to break through barriers. And so that may be a certification so that they can get a job, or a better paying job. That may be a deposit to help a family go from homelessness to housing. And it may be repairing their vehicle so that they have transportation. The financial assistance that we provide is specific and has no limits to what it can help the family accomplish. We also have a weekend food pack program where we provide 2,000 weekend food packs to those 2 partner schools throughout the year, and those are for children so that they don't have to worry where their next meal will come from when they can't rely on the school breakfast and lunch. Last year's program had tremendous success with 100% of families that were surveyed wanting to continue in the program, and we are only able to continue our success with these families through other organizations, assistance, and through individuals. I will be here at the end of lunch to answer any questions for our programs, or if you want to know how to get involved. We also have flyers on the back table, but we really appreciate the opportunity to speak and to let you know a little bit about our organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. while Travis Vance comes up here to introduce Jennifer Woods, two quick things. Larry Broom just let us know, you'll read about this in the paper tomorrow, that Jeff Bezos' foundation has just given $5 million to the Salvation Army for use locally here to combat homelessness. Is that accurate? Very good. Better stand up so people can come by and touch on the back. And then Phil Balcone has begged for time up here, but I told him that I would announce it. Phil, where are you? Phil Balcone. There he is. Stand up in case there's a question. I doubt it. But so next Tuesday is the big tree planting. Well, it's a big tree planting because we need lots of people out there. It's going to be from 10 to 12. 1,000 people? A dozen. Okay, we need a dozen people.
Next Tuesday is an opportunity for us on the cameras with Rotary. Our partner Tree Charlotte, who's been working for a long time at Moss Creek Elementary School from 10 to noon before you come to Rotary. So if you want to register online at treecharlotte.org or see me after the meeting. Need 12 people.
I think we got that covered. 12 people. Commit that to memory. All right, thank you, Phil. Travis, it's all yours.
All right, well, thanks. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the district conference video last week. Sorry I wasn't here to see that, but somebody told me there was going to be mood pies here today, but I haven't seen that. Today, it's an honor and my privilege to introduce Jennifer Woods as the newest member of Charlotte Rotary. She is a national manager at CA Short Company, which is headquartered out in Shelby. That's a company that specializes in employee recognition solutions, including engagement and creating a better culture for your employees. She earned her bachelor's in business and marketing from Davenport University. She's very active in the community, having served as vice president of public relations for the Valentine Toastmasters Club, co-leader for the Girl Scouts, and is involved in Girls on the Run and Youth Toastmasters program. However, her greatest accomplishment, I think, with respect to Rotary, is that I don't think this has ever happened before. Certainly has never happened to me. But she was invited today on her first day with the club to sit at the table on a future day, which is quite remarkable. So I was going to take a quick poll, other than myself, who has never been invited to sit at the table? So everybody knows Jennifer's going to do quite well. So everybody please welcome Jennifer Wood.
Jennifer, welcome aboard. Here's your roster. We've circled all the people at the table on there. So thank you. Great to see you and welcome aboard. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. The head table. You've heard from Ed Wadsworth, Robert Freeman to Ed's right, and Ron Campbell, who I'll mention again in just a second. Over to your right is Chase Saunders, and I'm actually going to introduce our speaker today, Leandre Adifon. And so, being the humble gentleman that Leandre is, he's going to be embarrassed by some of the stuff I say. That's too bad, Leandre. It's all true. He is one of the great minds of our time. And it just happens that he resides up in Davidson, North Carolina, where he's the head of global technology for Ingersoll Rand. Ingersoll Rand is a global conglomerate. You know, its North American headquarters is here in our neighborhood, and they have 51 production plants around the world. Names like Club Car, golf cars, Thermo King transport and temperature control equipment, Train air conditioning, which is where Ron is a resident in that group. But it's a gigantic company. We're very proud to have the company here in our region, and we're glad to have Leandre as part of that. So essentially, Leandre is charged with making sure that Ingersoll Rand not only has its finger on the pulse of today's markets, but most importantly, that they have their eye on the future and what product and service adaptations and innovations they're going to need to come up with to continue to be successful like they have been in what is a brutally competitive commercial space that it occupies. Leandre comes well equipped for this job. He spent 20 years at UTC, United Technologies, and has now been at Ingersoll Rand for 7 years. He did some consulting work in Europe prior to that on robotics and thermal engineering projects. He hails from Benin, West Africa, and along his life path, he's earned some tough-to-get credentials and degrees in engineering, systems design, finance, and management from the likes of Milan Polytechnic, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, all household names. Ingersoll Rand rightly concluded that Leandre needed a quiet place to do the thinking that he'll talk to us about, and so his permanent home, Leandre's, is in Davidson. But Ingersoll Rand also recognized that for him to be optimally effective, he really needed to be a regular visitor and observer of all of the commercial cauldrons around the world. And so we are very fortunate to catch him between airplane flights to talk to us about what the future holds. So please join me in giving a warm Charlotte Rotary welcome to Leandre Adifon.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me in the room? I will make sure I speak in a way that we can communicate, and at the end, we have some Q&A sessions. And if anybody is disturbed by the things that we talked about, please raise your hands, and then we can discuss that. A survey was conducted a long time ago, and they discovered that the average person lives 25,915 days. And of those, 30% of the time is used sitting, just sitting. 30% of our days, the 25,915, which is roughly 71 years, is spent sitting. Then the interesting is less than 1,800, I think it's 1,769 days are spent with a loved one, or loved ones, if it's more than one. So when you look at that, it starts to make sense to say, well, a day is made of 24 hours. That is 48 half hours, 96 quarter of hours. But everything pushes us not to be able to even dedicate 15 minutes to sit down and think. So what I'm going to share with you today are my moment I call observation moments. I impose on myself every day to take 60 minutes, okay, 60 minutes, 1 hour every day to just think, do observations, look at flowers, things that are around me, look at other people in the natural environment, and that's why I'm not a movie goer. Because we have movie going all around us every day, in the family, at work, even in a meeting, you see the dynamics. And so start paying attention to that, and you'll see the world with different eyes. But today I'm here to share with you a little bit of my thoughts about what future holds, a glimpse into what the future holds. We will talk about some technologies of the year 2030, 2040, and then beyond. Okay. By far on the screen, that's my favorite picture, by far. Every picture you can look at, this one is my favorite. It's a picture that NASA astronauts took from the moon. They took the picture of planet Earth. And when you look at planet Earth, it is the only place we all call home. It's the only place we all call home. And we all belong to that. If I may coin the word Earthians, I would say we are all Earthians, and we all call that home. However, when we look at this, we see that some mega trends are bringing bright spots as well as dark spots to our planet. And the reason why I start from the planet is that this is the only place where everything is happening. We haven't discovered another planet where we have people living. So everything I've talked about, future, is all around us, is around planet Earth. And if you look at the bright side, we have education, we have transports, we have health, and we have energy. We are in Charlotte. And North Carolina, especially Charlotte, is known as one of the energy capitals of the world. So I will not dwell on energy. But I will talk about the other three mega trends from the bright side. We'll talk about transportation, health, and education. Just make a few remarks, then after that we can have a totally free Q&A on those topics and beyond. And I will share my view of them. So, transports. When we look at transports, what are the value of transport? The time where Charles King in 1896 drove the first in Detroit, the first gasoline engine car. And he rode at 20 miles an hour. And people said, wow, that was great. When you look back from 1900 to 1930, in Detroit, cars started and people started looking at them, and they were together with the crowd and the horses, and the roads were, but then the number of cars started to grow, and cars started hitting people, and people saw cars as a bad thing, and the legislators came in and said, we should regulate, we should understand. And the first time people saw a stop sign for a car, and then people saw a drawing using tennis equipment, tennis court equipment, to paint the roads, to say, now you stay here on this lane, and you stay in other lane. That time, when we look back, and all that is happening 1900. It's not far. Based on human history, it's not far at all. And yet, we look at that today, and we'll talk about what cars are going to be in the future. But the values of transportation is that we want transport to be safer, to be faster, to be more efficient, autonomous, and easy access and customized. So all values that we see, no matter where we look at transportation today, on roads, on water, underwater, in the skies, and even in space. All things that our given talents on planet Earth are bringing us to conquer. And we've conquered more, we are going to conquer even more in the coming years. The enablers are infrastructure and data. When we look at industrial revolutions across the years, data is now the big thing. Everything that we do, data has always existed. We have always collected data from every work that we do in form of pictures, in terms of tests, in terms of numbers. We've always collected. And data has always spoken a language, showing us patterns, but they were hidden. We never knew what they were. But now technologies, the speed of computers, the computing power of computers is such that now we can understand. We start to decipher what data holds. So keep that in mind as we go through the few remarks that I'm going to make, in such a way that we understand what are we giving up for what we are getting. That is a question that we will have to answer. When we look at cars, the closest of the transportation close to us, we look at cars. They are evolving, and people are working on cars today that will become moving rooms. I just flashed out there on a picture where you see no driving wheel, and you see only seats that are facing each other. You get in the car, you plan the itinerary, and then you go. People who were thinking when self-driving cars were announced were thinking about changing everything around the city for those cars to work. But the designers and the innovators work on the cars themselves, giving them a sense of what is around them. And those cars will change the way we behave, the way we do things. Today, we have cars that are semi-autonomous, but they will reach level 4, level 5, where they are totally autonomous. We are getting there. Here are the things that could happen, and we would take it whether positively or negatively, depending on where we stay. And I'll ask you to take it positive. Okay, the bright side. That's what I'm talking about, the bright side. There will be no driver's license. No driver's license. And when we talk about driver's license, you have to go somewhere, somebody has to check. First you take all those questions, you go through, and they can be tricky, and then you may miss it. Or then you have to drive with somebody who said, yeah, I certify that this person can drive safely without becoming a hazard for everybody else. So no driver's license, no insurance. So if you don't own a car, and the car is owned by a company that takes all the hassle about owning a car, you just, when you need it, you push a button from your device and your smartphone, and then the car comes. The time you need it, you sit in, you program where you need to go, even before the car comes. No car taxes, no ownership, no search for parking. When those things happen, then what does it mean? Uber came out, and people in Europe, since we're in the US, I'll talk about Europe, so we all feel comfortable. In Europe, taxi drivers fought it strongly. And I took a taxi going to the airport, and the guy, everything negative about Uber, he was telling me. And I told him, sir, with all due respect, it is here to stay. Adapt. We need to adapt to the change that is coming. So it is here to stay. And it's going even farther than that. And what does it mean socially for us? What impact will it have socially when all those things are happening and nobody is paying the car taxes, driver's license? What will it? Keep that in mind. We will come back to that as well. All that is enabling that revolution is, again, data and the connectivity. Cars will talk to cars. Cars will talk to people. Cars will talk to homes. Cars will talk to everything around them. And then we sit in them and we go. It's not that far. What I'm talking about is already happening. The technologies are building every day, and they are improving every day. Now, in order to achieve that, we need to give up some privacy, because information about us will be available so that it can be taken into account by networks to be able to help us work seamlessly. It's interesting, one of my reflections years ago, I was sitting, when I first came to North Carolina, I was sitting by Lake Norman, and I was thinking, you say, well, at the end, what is the ultimate purpose of all the innovations? Giving freedom to people. If you take, somebody comes to mow your lawn, so it gives you more time. Somebody that delivers the grocery at your house, it gives you more time. So what are we going to do with all that time that is free for us? Well, quickly we fill it with other needs that we create for ourselves. But when it comes to privacy, we are very sensitive. Especially, it's a generational thing. That's what I thought, until I started observing millennials starting to have kids. And then all realizing that, well, everything I put out there on social media, everything I'm putting out there about me, well, that's not so good. And now, it is sometimes too late. So we will see the return of people trying to get their privacy back. where the society and technology is pushing to give up some of that privacy. It is something that we could talk about. Now, there are other means of transportation that, due to time, I'll just say one word about each one of them. Flying cars. The first flying cars are now put on, they became commercial in 2018. And there are much more companies that we can imagine that are out there working on flying cars that will open their wings and they will fly. They will go on roads and they will also fly. So imagine when that becomes very popular, what happened with the traffic light that was at the turn of the beginning of last century came into play to make sure we protect people. We'll have to think about the technology that will enable to be able to get the cars that are flying all over. Hyperloop, in 2013, Elon Musk, who is the CEO of Tesla Motors, said, what if we dig a hole? And he called that the boring company. And if we dig a hole and we put a tunnel in the hole, like 11 feet wide, and we can zip cars through at 760 miles an hour. Okay, 760 miles an hour, going from New York City to Washington, D.C. will just be within minutes. Going from Charlotte to Seattle will be within hours. One hour, a few minutes. It's unbelievable. He said that, and today we have people already trying to simulate and put in tunnels, and they have reached the speed of 240 miles an hour today. So it is coming, and the Hyperloop is coming. We have underwater vehicles that are being developed as well, and then SpaceX. It was quite an achievement to see the boosters and everything on the space, I won't call it space shuttle, the space vehicle that SpaceX had going up and then coming back and be reused. So the technologies are evolving, and transportation is going to take us at places that today we don't even imagine. But we will have to adapt. Let's talk quickly about physical and mental health. My view of health is not the medical one. So if there's any doctor in the room, don't feel disturbed. I'm an engineer. I define health by saying no pain, no life-threatening illness, strength, inner peace, longevity, and so on. When those things, we feel them, we say, yeah, I'm healthy, why not? I'm healthy. Now, when we look at where we are today, where medicine has been, and the science continues to evolve, here are a few scenarios of things that are yet to happen. I took 4 scenarios to talk about. Number 1, wearables. Fitbits, Apple Watch, different wearables that we have today are able to track our physical activities, heartbeat, miles that we covered, calories that we burned. Today they can do that. But in the future, they are sending vital signs directly to a center or to our doctor. And our doctor will have a beep that comes in when Mr. X or Mrs. X is having is about to have a heart attack, or will have a heart attack in a month, because the parameters are showing the pattern that are coming from a whole population of sampling that a heart attack is coming in a month. The doctor can call and say, hey, Mike, why don't you come in? Mike, he picks up me, so I'm now returning the field. Why don't you come in? Because never, okay, knock on wood. So you will have a heart attack in 3 months, in 2 months. because we have signs that are being monitored. A blood droplet. There was a company that had a fiasco, but there are a lot of other companies that are now emerging that with a droplet of blood, that we can check a lot of things. And that can be done at home. You don't have to go to the lab. That can be done as we wake up in the morning, droplet, we take it, and then it analyzes a lot of things, vital signs for us. We could measure cholesterol, glucose level, all the parameters that we measure without going anywhere. And the data will be transmitted directly to our doctor, who has the panel, has a dashboard. And here's the dashboard of Mr. Y, here's the dashboard of Mrs. Z, and would be able to look at our lives and call us in, even before we are aware that something bad is going to happen. That the technologies are already in play, and this is coming. Something that people are shy talking about, and I will glide over it quickly. Toilet. Okay. The toilet that we have at home is a perfect place where we dump stuff, and that toilet will become intelligent. Well, much more than the toilet in Japan. If anybody has been to Japan and go to the hotel and you see that toilet with all the numbers and all the buttons on it, say, how do I ever? Okay, so they have that. But what I'm talking about is even more than that. It can analyze exactly the deposit there and tell our doctor, tell us and our doctor what's going on. As long as we come in, we identify ourselves, they will get all the data about us, and we'll be able to communicate that data about us for us to stay healthy. So, last but not least, scale. So we go on the scale in the morning, we go on the scale every day, and then start tracking our weight, and then it's comparing it with our weight from the past, what has happened, okay, why this drop is analyzing all that. What does it mean? What's the social impact of all that? We will live longer. People will work till in the 90s. Okay, and when we do that, what happened to the younger generations? People who are working till the 90s have tremendous experience, tremendous, that companies will leverage. So we have to rethink. When technologies are evolving, they don't stop just for the sake of technology. We have to look at a broader, an array of implications, and the social one is one. Let me touch my last topic, and then we can, I can open up for questions. There's a group of people that like to think. In their free time, they take time and they think. One of them is Thomas Frey, who had the Da Vinci Institute in Colorado. And he said that by 2030, the world's largest internet company will be in education. It has not been created yet. 2030 is just around the corner, and yet it will be in education. He made that statement, and then I took some time and say, why did he say that? I have never met him, I haven't talked to him. However, when I read that statement, I said, why is he making that statement? And here are my findings. So, the values of education is to grow the whole person. We want to grow the whole person. It's not just the mind, the intellect, but the whole person. If somebody is so intellectual that they don't know how to boil an egg, they may not know how to live their lives. So we grow the whole person. And in the future, we will be focusing on the uniqueness of education, of every person have their talents. Now, if we take the case today, what is happening? It's easy to talk, to criticize what we have today. However, it's also good to be aware of its limitations. The model we have today, everybody goes to school, and everybody is considered the same. We flattened our talents. If X is so good and is talented in music, X has to go through the same curriculum like everybody else, and what they'll say, you're not good, you fail. Before X could get the opportunity to excel in music, it's too late. He's frustrated, has lost confidence. So the way we evaluate everybody's talents today, the way we deliver education today is becoming obsolete. The common curriculum is becoming obsolete. The imposed pace is becoming obsolete. So what does it mean? It means that schools, we have to rethink about the model that is taking the growth of the whole person to be able to grow the individual as self-paced. Identify what is the strength. I have written in there, everyone is a genius in a domain to be discovered and to grow. Everybody. So when we go home to our kids and our grandchildren, we should not look at them as failing. We need to help them discover the genius that is in them. And that will make a huge difference in society. Here is one of my reflections. In one of the pictures I put up there, I showed a sieve. And a lot of people go through that sieve, and only a couple go through. Why? Because all the others are retained by a society that considers them as failed and then will reject them. What does it mean to the only place we all call home? What does it mean that the people that we all rejected and consider that they failed, the missed genius, the missed opportunities that they hold that we have never tapped into? So we have to revisit our educational system. We have to be able to pull out from everyone the genius that is in them. And to do that, we have to bring people back to nature. And I shared one of the picture you see on the right is my wife and I sitting by Lake Norman observing the sunset. I sneaked that one in to let people know that nature is so beautiful and we can't spend 24 hours without taking the time to breathe, to look at things around us and to enjoy. Technology will continue to help, but the technology for the sake of technology is nothing. It's technology at the service of humans. People who are afraid that technology will take away our freedom, no, I say technology will enhance us. And we just need to rethink our social to make sure that everybody continues to benefit. I will end with this graph. My success factors, and this is my last slide. I only have two measures to measure if a person or a company is successful. Only two metrics I use. What's their impact on people? How many people have they impacted in their lifetime? And what have they done for planet Earth, the only place we all call home? And I give two examples. Look at internal combustion engines, the car that we have with gasoline. They have impacted nearly everybody on the planet. 7 billion people, I'll say they impact on a daily basis more than half. So overall, almost the 7 billion people somehow have been exposed to cars. And yet we know that at the same time, all the gases, the fumes that are coming out are not friendly to our planet. So I'll leave you with those thoughts and invite you to ask questions, and to the best of my ability, I will try and answer. Thank you.